It's been a month since the Activision lawsuit became public information, and everyone could now see into what happens at Activision and all the issues that are caused not only in game development, but just workplace environments in the first place. And I think we've all heard what Activision has done, or not specifically Activision, but members of the Activision community and higher ups at the company and what they've done in the past. And I've talked about those in previous videos, but I want to look at 1 month later to see what has changed in Activision. I think it comes as little to no surprise to anyone that not a lot has changed. Sure, we saw executives change and new people brought in to replace those that have left the company and have been kicked out of the company for good reason, but nothing extremely different has changed within Activision. I think we all knew that because Activision's a multi-billion-dollar company and they got lots of power, they're gonna get away with pretty much everything. And it's like a mixed bag of tricks. On one end, we all want Activision to crumble and fall as a company, but there was only specific individuals that took part in these workplace, I would say, incidents, and those people have been removed from the company, willingly so, and people have replaced them and they've started to rebuild their company in a better light. And I think that's honestly the best thing for Activision right now, and also they are being pretty silent. Now, if you go to the Activision's Twitter, their Twitter has gone back to normal every time there's a COD update or anything news-wise in COD, like, hey, new game mode coming to Warzone, the Season 5 Reloaded update's coming out. We'll obviously see stuff like that on their Twitter, but they really haven't addressed much publicly. Remember way back when they originally addressed it a month ago, no one at the company was satisfied or in the community was satisfied because it just seemed like they were avoiding the question and just avoiding all criticisms and kind of not playing the victim, but also not admitting to what happened. They just kind of played it safe, and it was like a super cookie cutter, dry response saying, we're gonna do better type thing. But a lot of executives have left and new people have taken over, and maybe we will see some positive change in the community because of this. Honestly, I'm not expecting much to change. I was hopeful when the lawsuit first went public that we were going to see change, but realistically, I think all of us know that seeing change in this situation is highly unlikely. And one thing that doesn't come to a shock to a lot of people is on the Call of Duty Vanguard's branding, all the companies that work on the game are usually listed on the packages somewhere and on the advertisements, but the only one missing is Activision. This is probably just being done so that the public has a better outlook on the game and there's no Activision tied to the game, which makes sense, but you can definitely tell that Activision's still involved with the game somewhat, and we all know that Activision publishes COD, so it's no secret there. But on the box art and on the branding, on the posters, all that stuff, you'll see the Sledgehammer Studios and a couple other support studios, Raven Software, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, stuff like that, but you won't see any Activision, which I think is a better move for Vanguard and just what the game is going to be in the future. But other than that, there's been no groundbreaking news about the situation. The biggest news in this entire lawsuit was literally when it broke public. And even then, this originated way back in 2018, and just because of California law, I believe it's 2 or 3 years before a public court case documents can be seen by the public. Like, it'll be a public lawsuit, but nothing documentation wise is available for 2 to 3 years. I think that's the same thing that happened with Drake Bell, who's the actor from Drake and Josh, and he was caught up in some minor misconduct, we'll say at the least. And the same thing happened with him, where it happened a while ago, but because the documents can't go public for 2-3 years. So the Activision thing happened in 2018. That's when initial reports were made at the company that there were some issues. It went under the radar because the court case files couldn't go public for 2 or 3 years. So Activision really didn't do a lot of changes in the workplace, it seems, from then until now, because there was the walkout, right? Like, we had the Activision walkout where majority of the Activision employees took the day off to protest their rights that they should have at work and fair treatment and equality and all that stuff like that. So obviously between 2018 and 2021, there has obviously been continuation of that misconduct at work. Not so much the cubicle crawls and the sexual misconduct that has happened from higher ups in the company, but just the fair treatment of gender equality, and not even just gender equality, but just overall equality at the workplace. It seems like that was still an issue up until now. So hopefully by now the workplace is changing within Activision. There hasn't been any like breaking news stories since this story hit the public, and we haven't heard of like, oh, Activision continues to do this and continues these horrid things at the workplace. I don't expect that to happen whatsoever, but I wouldn't be surprised, right? I think none of us would be surprised whatsoever. So what does this mean for the games that they're making and that they publish? Honestly, I don't think we're gonna see a huge amount of change in game development and how microtransactions and stuff are run, because this whole issue didn't deal with the games whatsoever. It just dealt with sexual misconduct at work and then work mistreatment towards their employees. So none of the things that make them money were really affected. Now, of course, their stocks dropped. I was reading an article this morning about how their stocks have dropped immensely since the lawsuit, which is to be expected, right? Like, if you're invested in a company and something happens at the company that puts them in the bad eyes of the public, you're obviously going to pull out and take out your investments and not invest in them in the future. So I think that's going to be a huge issue that Activision is going to have over the next couple months and couple of years, is how much investing they're getting to their company. And I'm sure in their investment calls, they probably talk to their investors and sweet talk them and say that they've taken care of the issue, even though their company is seen in such a bad light, and they'll do everything to reassure their investors that things are changing and things are going to even get better than they are now, which I hope, right? Like, I genuinely hope that these things and issues do get solved and that they don't happen again. I think everyone knows that. However, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what the community thinks, and even if things do improve, it really just matters to them what the investors think and how much the investors actually invest into the company and how much money they make. And because the investors are losing stock and people are backing out and their stocks just dropping in general, it makes me worry how they're going to try and get money elsewhere, because if they can't get money from their investors, guess who's up next on the chopping block, and guess who they're targeting next? Yep, that's us, the consumers. And they'll start charging even more for the battle pass and try and milk everyone they can to get COD points and to make money. Not even just on Call of Duty, but just any of the Activision Blizzard games that they own and publish. That's realistically the next best bet. If the investors aren't giving them the money they need, they're going to come to us next, because I mean, that's realistically the next source of their income and like their last defense wall, or like their plan B. So overall, nothing huge has changed within the lawsuit. However, this does let us see the light that, hey, Treyarch and Sledgehammer may not need Activision in the first place. Sure, Activision owns the rights to Call of Duty, so it would be a huge deal trying to get Call of Duty out from underneath Activision Blizzard, but hey, at least this proves that even when Activision screws up, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward don't really need them at the end of the day. Huge example is with the World War II Vanguard. I mean, Activision's off of the branding, which is a good thing for Call of Duty, I think. But we all realistically know that they're still behind the controls and they're still heavily involved with the making of Call of Duty. So it's kind of hard to get away from them. It's like realistically, the developers are Cinderella, and then the evil stepmom or stepmother or godmother, whoever the bad mother is to Cinderella in this story, is Activision, and all the developers are Cinderella in this part. And then the prince is probably the players, or it's either or. We are Cinderella, and then the prince is the developers like Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer. But regardless, hopefully things change. I don't expect to see any huge changes and developments within this lawsuit anymore, unless there's some stuff that goes on behind the public right now, or if they mess up during the transition of trying to better the company and improve their public image. But yeah, that's the update. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below on the lawsuit. And I think it's been such a big story that everyone's kind of just sat back and watched what happens. And now that realistically the story's done, we'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully everything will change for the better, but with Activision, we never know. Anyway, leave a like if you guys did enjoy, dislike if you didn't, there's no hard feelings. If you guys are on GamerSupps, use code WILD, saves you money, also helps support the channel, and social media links in the description below, including the Discord if you guys want to come hang out with me and the homies. Yeah, I'm about to head out, if there is one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.